Me and my family try to minimize eating processed food.
Whenever I need food fast, I'll just get those packed foods.
We believe that processed food got a lot of chemicals in it.
Just doesn't agree with us.
You got no choice. Like I say, you got no choice.
Good day! More and more food manufacturers are now adopting front-of-pack labels, a simple way to give consumers easy-to-understand nutrition information that allows them to compare products quickly. In short, it's about educating consumers to make smarter and healthier choices. Curious to know more? Well, grab that cup of coffee and join us on Freshly Brewed, where fascinating conversations unfold between engaging guests and BusinessMirror's journalist hosts. Today, we take a closer look at how front-of-pack labels are being used as a public health strategy to help consumers identify and choose healthier products at a glance. Let's listen in as Matt Kovac, Executive Director of Food Industry Asia, sits down with our very own Ruth Dela, BusinessMirror's Health and Fitness Editor, to talk about the role of front-of-pack labels in nutrition education.
Good day, everyone. More than 30 countries have adopted the World Health Organization's public health strategy of front-of-pack labels. This involves using simplified, interpretive labels such as color-coded systems or warning symbols to help consumers quickly identify and choose healthier products. Before digging deeper into the subject, I am Ruth Dela, BusinessMirror's Health and Fitness Editor. Please like and follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. To tell us more about front-of-pack labels, here's Matt Kovac, Executive Director of Food Industry Asia. Good day, Matt, and welcome to Freshly Brewed.
Thank you.
Okay, so can you give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Matt Kovac. I'm the CEO for Food Industry Asia. Mm-hmm. I'm based in Singapore, and we're an association that represents big brands, big ingredients companies, packaging companies on things around food safety, health, and sustainability.
Okay, so what were you doing before you joined Food Industry Asia?
Before I joined Food Industry Asia, I worked in agriculture. So I worked further up with farmers on agricultural inputs, on how to be more productive at the farm, and looking at issues around sustainability as well.
And you've been with the company for 11 years.
Yes, I have. And then prior to that, I was in the agriculture industry for about 5 years.
Okay. Can you give us a bit more background about Food Industry Asia and what work does it do, what it represents?
So Food Industry Asia has around 50 companies that are members. Those are brands, and it covers all sorts of range of different type of products, from dairy products to snack foods to beverage products. Mm-hmm. We also have ingredients companies that supply those big brands, and they're the biggest ingredients companies in the world. Mm-hmm. And then packaging companies that are producing the actual packaging for companies to be able to sell their products through. And what we do for them is we work on policies, standards, and contributing to building regulatory frameworks in order to help and support public health initiatives, or improve food safety, or improve sustainability. And we do that across the whole of Asia Pacific.
Okay, so those are the three focal areas that you address, is that correct?
That's right.
Why those three?
Well, these three in particular, because number one, you need safe food.
Mm-hmm,
so that's primary importance is to have safe food. Mm-hmm. Second is health. We want people to be healthier, choose healthier options for the food that they consume as well, right? And then the third one is, of course, increasingly, we need those food products and ingredients to be more sustainable and to support sustainability initiatives that reduce impact on climate.
Okay. So what brings you here to the Philippines since you are based in Singapore?
Well, we kind of opened an office in Manila, so we have a representative for Food Industry Asia here in Manila now, and I'm here visiting and doing visiting some of our members and some other stakeholders in Philippines, and attending a food conference down in Davao as well to get a better understanding myself on the ground of what's happening around food safety, health, and sustainability.
Oh, I see. So what sort of work does you have a Philippine representative now here. So what are they working on?
So in particular, they're working on and working with other organizations. So we collaborate a lot with other chambers and associations to work on those three things that I talked about. But in particular in the Philippines at the moment of kind of primary importance is around health.
Okay.
And also on to sustainability issues. And then those things would be things like extended producer responsibility. That's around plastics and packaging.
Yes.
And then the health stuff is around things like front of pack labeling and other health issues that are popping up. So that's what we are beginning to work on here in Manila in the Philippines.
Okay. And how many members do you have here based at the Philippines?
Well, it translates. So we have the 50 members at the regional level, and it's the same kind of members in the country that we work with as well.
I see.
So that's how it works. It's a pretty simple model.
I attended the summit on obesity that was conducted by the Philippine Association of Metabolic and Obesity Surgery Incorporated. And one of the things that they are pushing for is front of pack labels to help address the growing problem of obesity. And this is one of the things that Food Industry Asia is pushing for, right? Why is this important?
Front of pack labels are really important. Why is that? Look, in the past, we've had information that's kind of on the back of the pack.
Right.
But to be honest, that's been a little bit inaccessible for most people to understand. And for someone as old as me as well, trying to read the fine print is a little bit difficult. So the trend is to translate that data on the back and translate it into a more simple and more consumer-friendly front of pack label. And that's really important for us to introduce across in the Philippines, but across other markets in Asia.
Okay. So what can be done in order to entice our food manufacturers to adopt this?
Well, one thing for sure is educating the industry, and that's not just big companies, because big multinationals and other big companies have tended to do this in other markets.
Okay.
But it's also educating some of the SMEs as well of why this has to be done, because they may not understand the context.
Yes. That's
Okay, so first thing is to consult with industry and to educate industry to say this is the reason why we want to introduce some front of pack labels for the benefit of consumers, but also it can also be more transparent in showing what the kind of nutrient profile of your food is. So what sugar, salt, fat content is, fiber, vitamins, minerals, all the things that maybe people who are doing a grocery shopping they want to know.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. So what sort of measures can be taken in order to ensure that these manufacturers will be placing the right ingredients and the right amounts on these front pack labels?
So what you need is a proper comprehensive policy to enable industry to kind of follow, to enable them to then look at how to put that front of pack label together on their categories on their products. So what you need is that kind of collaboration and dialogue between Department of Health or Ministry of Health and the industry to say, okay, what would this look like and how would you do it? You've got to do it by category. So you can't have a general front of pack label that fits for, say, a beverage and then a dairy product, because they're very, very different and have different nutritional needs. So you need to kind of come together to kind of organize what that would look like to give industry an opportunity to put the label on the pack appropriately.
Okay, so have you met our manufacturers here in the Philippines?
Yeah, in fact, actually, sort of meeting
That's
them
why you're
today.
here.
Yeah, met them today and yesterday, and sharing my experience at the regional level, but also in Europe and in North America about what the trends are in front of pack label, what happens there, how that works in those kind of environments, and trying to get industry to understand. It's like, so what's the cultural context for the Philippines as well? Because it's a very different market from, say, Indonesia next door or Malaysia or Thailand. So you need to look at those sort of those cultural idiosyncrasies and understand, so what's relevant in terms of the type of food composition and the type of things that people are consuming in the Philippines to enable you then to put that front of pack label together, basically.
Okay. So what sort of feedback have you received during your visit here?
Actually, it's really positive. It's kind of it's positive in the sense of, right, we understand we've got to look at what the most appropriate front of pack label should be. I think there's some learning curve to go through what is going to be relevant to the Philippines, and for sure what's coming out is that a kind of like a color coded type of scheme would
Okay.
would definitely be the best one for the Philippines because it would be kind of easier to understand, and not easy, but there's some education needs to do. So it will be easier to understand because you can look at it from the color, and it'll give people sort of an idea of what the composition of that food product would be. But we also discussed other type of labels as well, which is more of a positive one. It's kind of like a healthier choice. And it exists in Malaysia, Thailand, and Singapore, where it's either a pyramid to show that it's more healthy, or it's a tick. And that just suggests that this product is healthier. So maybe you should look at buying that one as well. So we had a really great discussion on how would you sort of look at putting those type of labels together, or maybe just one in the beginning to give industry an opportunity to get used to it, and then consumers to learn and understand.
That's right. Okay. Because it's one thing to adopt front pack labels, but how will the food industry Asia help educate consumers about its importance?
Yeah, I mean, that's really important. So
Yes.
I think that the industry has a responsibility to support with the education of consumers. Okay. And they can do that individually through their own channels as companies to reach out to their consumers. So they have big, whether it's on social media or traditional media, or even through their own owned media as well. So you're able to educate consumers on that. I think the role for someone like Food Industry Asia is to work with the Department of Health to give our experiences of how can you condense this quite complicated information down into a language and a way of trying to give primary caregivers and those who are doing most of the grocery shopping an understanding of what does this mean, how does it work, how do I interpret it? And FI is really prepared to work with the Department of Health and academia and other stakeholders to show our experience of how you can improve the way that you educate and get people to understand the labels.
Okay. So what do these front labeling, what should they contain? What content should they contain if they are in the front?
So when it's on the front,
Yes.
usually what it would look like is that you have the levels of sugar,
Okay.
sugar, fat, and sodium. And you can also sometimes have the energy levels of the calorie as well. And those are kind of basics of what the content of the product is. What you can also do is you can also add claims on there, but that's a separate thing. But
Yes.
companies can also say that this is something that's been fortified or added with fiber, or it's got additional minerals and vitamins. But the essence of a front of pack would be the levels of sugar, salt, and fat, so people can get an understanding of that product that way.
Okay. And Food Industry Asia will also help educate our consumers.
We would definitely like to try. There's a big difference between, say, somewhere like Metro Manila and even in Davao and Luzon and everywhere. So you've got to look at what how the audience can interpret that as well. You've got to look at the demographics, the different ages. Of course, you have to look a little bit about education levels as well. And also even with school children. Because school children could be a very good way of helping to educate their parents about products. So we would be really willing to kind of come in and support and give our experience with that.
Okay. So what future trends do you see in the food industry?
In general,
Yes.
So in general, right, what we would see in terms of food trends is that an increasing importance on transparency. So companies being able to give consumers the type of information that they need, understanding about the health or the healthfulness of their products, how sustainable the products are as well, and also maintaining a level of understanding of how safe these products are. So if you're taking pre-packaged food and beverage products, they go through a very rigorous regulatory system. Most consumers don't even know that.
Yes,
So
yes,
being able to show them how important it is that they've gone through this regulatory process and they're absolutely safe, and educating them about that is probably some of one of the key trends for the Philippines. I think probably another one as well is how the industry is moving towards being more responsible around sustainability. So one thing's for sure on plastics and packaging.
Yes.
So what we're doing to try to reduce or minimize the amount of packaging we do, and how we're trying to recycle that packaging too, that's definitely an absolutely key trend as well. And probably the third thing is on food innovation. So food industry isn't the most innovative of industries or sectors in a way, because if you think about it, we've been canning tuna fish for like 150 years the same way. But right now we're at sort of a changing point where there's a lot of novel foods, different new foods coming on into the whole food system, and it's going to be really important because some of them are supporting and mitigating issues around sustainability. Some of them are different ways of making food products, and I think consumers will need to be educated on what these mean and why they're going to be important for the future. And that's an exciting area. And it's also important for us to sort of work with regulatory authorities on getting them to understand these novel and new foods as well, so we can bring that innovation to market.
Okay. So what are the future plans of food industry?
Well, for us, certainly in the Philippines, we would be looking to work with a range of different stakeholders. Those will be in government, so we would like working with the Department of Health, working with Department of Trade and Industry, different types of different government agencies as well, but also collaborating with industry groups and associations here, so that we can really build kind of work streams and projects that really contribute to the public health initiatives of the Philippines, and of course, in making food and beverage products more sustainable as well.
Okay. So what's the last message would you like to leave to our viewers about front of pack labels?
So what I would like to say is that in order for consumers to really understand a front of pack label, we would say that a color-coded front of pack is the best way forward. It gives consumers the right type of information in a color-coded way, so they can understand what the nutrient kind of content of those food and beverage products are, and they can make those decisions based on that information. And we would say that is by far the best model for the Philippines to bring in, to really be able to start the process of educating consumers on this.
Okay. Thank you so much. With that, we would like to thank Matt Kovac for guesting on Freshly Brewed and for sharing the benefits of front of label packaging with us. Before we go, I'd like to share this with you. The food you eat can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. If you'd like to revisit this episode or other Freshly Brewed episodes, please visit our YouTube channel. Take care, eat well, and don't forget to watch our next episode.
And that wraps up our Freshly Brewed episode for today. Thank you for tuning in into this highly informative episode about front of pack labels. Stay informed, stay inspired, and make smarter choices every day with BusinessMirror. For the latest stories and updates, visit our website, businessmirror.com.ph, for a broader look at today's business. And follow us on our social media channels. Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and don't forget to stay ahead. No more, and we'll see you next time.